welkom nog een keer Kwarantynwyn in die tuin, saam met Elaine. Now for today we got given a little box here by the Durbanville Wine Valley, and since it is Sauvignon Blanc Day on Friday, first Friday of May every year is Sauvignon Blanc Day, we've got given a collection of about 6 Sauvignon Blancs here, all from the Durbanville Wine Valley. Now those of you who don't know where Durbanville is, it's located about 40 minutes outside of Cape Town, on its northern suburbs, and it's a part of, or it's a wine region that was already established in the late 1600s, I think 1698. The first, excuse me, the first farms were given by Simon van der Stel with Altyd Gedacht, and I think DIEMERSDAL being two of the first, getting title deeds, and records date back to 1702 of the first wines being made in this region. Today it is quite popular or well known for Sauvignon Blanc, and as far as we know, Sauvignon Blanc was only first made here in 1970, and with Bloemendal in Durbanville also being, I think, the first wine estate to play around with that. But since we're on that topic, why not? Let's try some of this. So first one we've got here is the Maastricht Sauvignon Blanc. Now this is a fairly newer wine estate or wine producer in Durbanville. When I was in high school in the late 90s, there were only about 8 farms in the Durbanville Valley. Today, as far as I know, there are 15, and I think of the 15 there's about 10 or 12 of them that actually now have little restaurants or eateries on them as well.
Yeah. DIEMERSDAL is like 15 minutes down the road from where we live, okay?
Exactly. Now Maastricht here, beautiful unwooded Sauvignon Blanc, quite grassy. There's a bit of that almost like tinned asparagus, but there's also there's like gooseberries on there as well, which is quite nice. The acid is quite well balanced, which I'm quite happy with, because Sauvignon Blanc can have quite a fierce acid.
Which year is this though?
This is a 2020.
Interesting.
So yeah, it is 2021 now, so
yeah,
most of the Sauvignon Blancs are coming onto the market as we speak. There's always one or two trying to be the first on the market, with DIEMERSDAL always releases one really early. I think they had their first one in the first week of March already on the shelves. But yeah, this wine it's absolutely beautiful. As far as I know, as I said, unwooded, but with about a good 2 months on the lease, which just makes the wine a little bit more richer as well.
Oh, that asparagus for me is just absolutely divine. Makes my mouth water and makes me want to eat.
It is absolutely delicious. Well made. Well, talking about DIEMERSDAL, we have another wine here of theirs as well inside the box. So as we said, this is one of the older wine estates in the Durbanville region, with actually DIEMERSDAL founded in 1698, so one of the first that was founded here. It is now under the Lowe family who owns it, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 5 generations of the Lowe family that has now been making wine on DIEMERSDAL itself. And Taste Lowe, the winemaker there, he's an absolute lover of Sauvignon Blanc. He really, it's his absolute passion. He researches it as much as he can, and he even makes a Sauvignon Blanc under the DIEMERSDAL label now in New Zealand as well. Yeah, you may throw that out.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I can't do downs.
So this year is the DIEMERSDAL Sauvignon Blanc Reserve 2020. As I said, DIEMERSDAL always has one of their Sauvignon Blancs that goes out really quick, but they have quite a lot of other Sauvignon Blancs they do as well. Single vineyards, they do a winter ferment, as I mentioned, the one from New Zealand. So they really specialize in Sauvignon Blanc, and that is exactly what the Durbanville Wine Valley is known for as well now.
Yes.
Although a lot of other grape varieties are planted as well here, Pinotage, Shiraz, some Chardonnay. Sauvignon Blanc is the absolute focus of this region. And although it can get a good 35 to 40 degrees here in the Valley of Durbanville, because it is only about 15 kilometers from the ocean, it does have cool winds coming through, cooling down the area, running over the Durbanville hills here in the valley. And the hills here, with vineyards planted anything between 200 and 400 meters, really help with cooling these grapes down and like retaining the natural acid in the grapes itself.
Yeah, we do have a very nippy wind here. And when it does get hot, we're always so super grateful for that wind, eh?
Exactly. And also in February in the mornings, there's a lot of mist that comes through this area as well, which
Yes.
really helps. And especially during harvest, getting to pick the grapes cool in the mornings, really early, retain the acid, and beautiful,
What
bright
time-
flavor.
What time do you think they start picking?
Oh, anything from 5 in the morning. Some of it's hand harvested. There's also some machine harvesting happening here, but it's just to get those grapes in as quickly as possible before the heat of the day. This is also a beautiful wine. Now, as far as I understood, this wine actually spends a good 5 months on the lees, so you have a little bit more of a richer mouthfeel than the wine we just
Definitely.
had from Maastricht. But there's still a lot of similarities here, and this is what Durbanville gives you. It gives you that grassiness, that asparagus, with that little bits of gooseberry. Absolutely beautiful. And now a year in the bottle. Lovely wine, once again.
I can
Beautiful.
taste the gooseberry in this.
But it's also, once again, the acid is beautifully, beautifully balanced and managed.
It is, yes.
Well, sorry for throwing that out taste, but I've got one more to try on camera here. And this is then the Durbanville Hills Collectors Reserve 2018. It's called the Cape Mist. As we said, there is a bit of mist that always comes through here, the vineyards in the mornings. And it's also interesting sometimes to try Sauvignon Blanc a little bit older, because most of the time we drink it very quickly. Once wine is sold, 90% of it is drunk within 24 hours
Yes.
of being sold. So that leaves you with 10% to actually make it maybe into a cellar or being drunk the next week.
Yes.
But we do tend to drink it a lot quicker. Now this wine, this is made by Martin Moore. Martin Moore has been with Durbanville Hills for quite a long time. I think I met him the first time in the 90s. So he's done quite a few vintages.
Oh, the nose of this is really good, eh?
You can smell this wine is a bit older. It has a little bit of that terpene character that you would find in a Riesling. That slightly bit more oiliness. Now this wine also unwooded, picked from different blocks on top of Durbanville Hills, from up at the top with the more clay, rocky soils and shale, and all the way to down to the valley with a bit more loam. So different parcels of Sauvignon Blanc. Some will give more acid, some will give more body, blended together. 8 months on the lease. But still beautifully and fresh. You have now a lot more of a richer character. This is probably the heaviest of the three.
But you can
That we've
you can
had.
taste that it's got more age on it. You can actually taste it.
But you still get that asparagus. But
Yeah.
now your gooseberries is a little bit more mature.
Yes,
It's a
that's
bit more
it.
riper fruit
Yeah.
coming through. I think it also just shows the versatility of Sauvignon Blanc here in Durbanville. It is, you can have it young, you can age it a little bit. I think, I don't think 20 years ago when I was a student drinking a lot of Durbanville Sauvignon Blanc, people used least contact as much. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like the use of yeast, the dead yeast cells in there, just gives you a bit more richness on the wine without making it heavy, without having to put it in oak in order to balance the acid and
The
so
dead
on.
yeast cells.
Yeah, that's called the lease.
You said sales.
Cell, sorry, not cell. But yeah, this is also delicious. This
Yeah.
is a lot more food-driven wine. I would
Yes.
definitely pair something to eat with it. Still lighter dishes, something down the lines of seafood. There's a common rule of thumb of what to pair with Sauvignon Blanc. If you think of food that you want to eat, that you want to squeeze lemon over, that's a good
Yes.
that's a good
Perfect.
indication of what to drink Sauvignon Blanc with.
Perfect. And don't you want to quickly tell the story about the name? Because I quite like that story.
Oh, so Durbanville, when it was first founded, was founded as a rest stop. There's a spring just behind the children's home here in Church Street.
I
And
love
it was-
that. I love that the place that I lived was once known as the rest stop.
So it was a place where people traveling from Cape Town going basically to sell their goods a bit further north into the country could stop, could replenish, get some fresh water from the spring. And then later, at that time, Durbanville was known as Pampoenkraal, which is pumpkin corral. Now later, once the English settlers took over, or basically the English took over the running of the Western Cape, Pampoenkraal changed its name to De Urban, named after Benjamin De Urban,
The urban.
who was apparently a loved governor of the Cape. at the time, and then later the name was changed to Durbanville as to not cause any confusion with the city of Durban in KwaZulu-Natal.
Which is where I'm from. I mean, hey?
So yeah,
I
today
obviously belong here.
So today with a wine valley with a history of more than 300 years of winemaking, and also now with almost 50 years, if not more than 50 years, just over 50 years of Sauvignon Blanc winemaking in the region, Durbanville is definitely a place to visit, and especially for its Sauvignon Blancs.
Yes.
So try and get hold of a Durbanville Sauvignon Blanc this Sauvignon Blanc Day on Friday, and have fun. Cheers.
Cheers.